Welcome back everyone to Pinetopia, and today we're going to start on a project that is going to involve archery. Now I've done archery game type things in the past with little success in my opinion. One of the reasons for that is it was always hard to tell how close you came to the target. Now we have target blocks. Now, of course, just hitting the target block is not going to do anything for you unless there is something connected to it that indicates that you successfully hit it. And one of the best things I could think of for doing that would be a redstone lamp. Now, unfortunately, redstone lamps are made from glowstone. And you get glowstone from the Nether. Now, I've seen some far away, hard to reach places where you could get some glowstone, but I've yet to find any that I've been able to actually access. I think today I'm going to start up in the Nether where we are going to get some glowstone. I think the most promising direction will be to either the north or to the south. And since I already have a tunnel towards the north, I'm going to head that way towards the Basalt Delta and to the Soul Sand Valley to see if I can find any good potential sites for glowstone in that area. Here I am in the Soul Sand Valley. Oh, unfortunately, I'm in a Soul Sand Valley that also has some gas in the area. But it looks like right on the edge of it, we have this other area that I obviously didn't visit before because I was afraid of the skeletons. Because we're so close to the Soul Sand Valley, so I missed all of that. Well, look at this. This is a nice load, which means that I should be able to make a good number of them. Now, how many redstone lamps am I going to be needing? I will say 18 would be a good number because that's the number of holes you have in golf. And even though this isn't technically a golf game, it sounds like a good number of items to have. Now, of course, getting enough glowstone for that will be tricky. Let's see, that's 8, 9 right now, right? No, 16. Oh, no. 16, 17. I think 17. I think it's 4. So if it's 17, that means I'm getting close to that minimum of 18 I just said, but there are other uses for glowstone other than making games, of course. They're very nice in using in mob farms and the like where you can turn them on and off. And fun little contraptions where you just want to make it look pretty by having the lights turn on and off at certain times. So let me get this all together and we could take the loot back to base. I managed to get 2 stacks of glowstone dust, which I converted into 32 glowstone, of which 18 are now redstone lamps, which are just made by adding some redstone dust with it. And now all I need to do is to light that up by sending it a redstone signal. How about that? I guess one way I could produce one is plopping down a redstone block. Yeah, there you go. Though I probably want to do something easier, such as perhaps let's make a lever. But of course, what we're really going to be doing is to make a target block. There you go. That's all nice and good. So now let's get a target block. And if I'm going to target block, I'm going to be needing a hay bale. Hay bales were traditionally thought of as being only a purely decorative block, but now they have a few more uses. Well, here's only going to be 5, but it'll probably be a while before I have enough hay in order to get more than that. So I guess we could start with 5. It'll take me time to make some of the rest of the targets. Now what I want to do is to make some targets. Now I just have to remember, yeah, this is the recipe. It's the same recipe as turning a piece of glowstone into a redstone lamp. In this case, you just take the bale of hay and put that around there. And now we have a target. I better take, actually, I don't have to take that off of it at the moment because we're just going to put this here and try to do some shooting. How about we start out close? That might help though if I see if I hit it, the thing turns on. Right now it turns on if I hit any place within this area. But you can add a delay to it. I think if you use some repeaters, actually all I need to do is get some redstone dust at it. I think, what do you need for this? Probably, okay, it looks like all you need is that. But if we do this, I'm pretty sure dabbing some redstone dust here will 6, 7, 8. That should lessen the strength. Now, obviously need a better way of signaling that so it goes around there, but we have to reduce the strength. That's the entire point there. So if I get it in the center, turns that on. I think if I get onto the edge there, well, yeah, okay, that doesn't do it. Getting it in that area, well, it dropped a little lower than I was expecting. So that doesn't. So the idea there is making it a long enough line to attenuate the signal so that you have to get closer to the center before it's going to turn on. I'll have to experiment with that for a while. I now have 12 pieces of dust, and I think that gives me the target area that would be good. It requires you to be in the close white area, so not necessarily in the dead center area, but if you get it in this red area here or in the top of that white area, it doesn't hit. So I think that means you'll have to be a little good in it, but you don't have to be perfect. And I think that'll be good for what I'm looking for. I suppose that means that I really should be more diligent in harvesting my wheat crops so that I can get those hay bales so I could make more targets in the future. There you go. I think the perfect place to start would be on top of the enchantment table, and that the first target's going to be right here. I think this is a reasonable point in which to have our start, though of course as we go along we might have more challenging targets as we continue along. Now the question is how I'm going to make each of these targets. I'm thinking of starting out like this. You'll place the target right here. And the idea then is to have our redstone signal to come and light this. Let's see, what do I have here? I want to be able to do this without crossing lines on the redstone signal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh. Well, I obviously can't place the redstone signal there because because if it's in contact with the target itself, the target will light it directly, which is of course not what we're trying to do. How about this? This. Let's see, can do that. Actually, if I think if I put the signal directly on top of there, it'll light it automatically. Let me test that out because this would be a nice place to put it, but I think that will... No, it doesn't. All right. Oh, okay, good. Actually, I don't have to connect. All right, so that doesn't immediately light it up. All right, that's perfect then. Okay, good. Up there, up there, up there. Now, yeah, that's what I want. Now, of course, we're going to have to hide the redstone also. Each of these are going to have that in the front. Oh, oops. I have decided that the perfect place to start this would be right on top of the enchanting table. And there you have the prototype for my target area. Right now I'm just using smooth stone blocks, so I am going to have something that looks a lot better than that. But the idea here is if I hit it, ooh, that was a pretty good shot there. If I hit it close enough to the target, I will light the lamp, otherwise I won't. Simple as that. Now, on the other side, we have the redstone. It's just lighting this up, and then I have 11 pieces of redstone dust going around down like that, rather than the 12 I was originally envisioning. And I want this to be compact enough so that I could do a small little build so that it will be all decorative, but not take up a huge amount of space all over. I'm going to have to remove this tree, it looks like. So get this done, and I have to decide how I am going to decorate each of these because that's a little something that I don't know yet. And one of the things though that I want to do is this, after I complete each one, is for me to go on top of the target area. So what if I throw a torch right here to make sure that the inside doesn't get super dark and summon mobs all over the place. Be a little stairway going up here. I'll have to make this. Ooh, I do have to worry about that. How am I going to cover that up properly? Ah, good. It turns out that I didn't need this last piece of redstone. It's actually 10 then, because this powers that one up, which powers that one up. So that means I could just put that directly on top of there, and everything should work. And the goal then is to, let's just use the oak for now, to go up here, up here, up here, and I'll have a little marker here, which is going to be wherever I go for the next target, which I'm going to have to choose as I go along here. Before I go around and start choosing other targets, let me refine this little area here so that I have an idea of what it's going to look like. I've replaced the smooth stone with spruce planks. Now, of course, this is still not up to the stage of being pretty or anything like that, but I needed a cheaper block in order to do the full encasing in here. Now, right now, I'm only 12 blocks away, so that's a pretty easy target. As I said, though, the first one is just going to be the easiest to start. So I decided to have the stairs coming up in the back like that, and I'm marking this with a smooth stone here, and then we could look for the next target area, which I think that area right there would be a nice place for a second target. It's a little bit further away, so I think that should help to add a little bit to the challenge of it. There's probably still much more work to be done, but I think this is a bit of an improvement where the target is now surrounded by the trapdoors. We've got a pair of trapdoors on either side there. And I've changed the stairway to be made of oak so that it's a bit of a contrast. And of course, we have the outer layer there to be of a contrasting texture there. So I think that is a major improvement on how it works. Still looks a little bit boxy though, so I still have to think on that. Now all that should not affect how it actually works, of course. Yeah, that still works. No trouble whatsoever. Good. And then up here, and I could then start to look for the next target. I came back here to the Nether for a moment because I just remembered another thing I wanted glowstone for, and that is to make a respawn anchor. I completely forgot about this thing before. Let's see, I put that here. Oopsie daisy. Oh, it sort of floats up a little bit due to what we've got going on here now. I'm supposed to not quite 9 lives. All right, so that means to fill one of these things gives you the not quite 9. I guess it's 5 lives. The 4 respawns plus the 1 there. All right. So this is where I'll come back if I get killed while in the Nether. And you have to make these things here in the Nether, or at least use them in the Nether, because I think if you use one of those in the overworld, it blows up, because that's what happens if you use a bed in the Nether. Sort of the opposite thing. The second target is made from smooth stone plus some andesite going around there. Thus I have different materials for each one, assuming that I can manage that. Now, question is, can I manage this shot? That is, looks like it was a little low. All right. Yeah, it dips a little bit. This is a little bit further, so it's a tougher shot. I'm surprised I got that previous one on the second shot, but since then, not as... All right, there we go. Yeah, it's hard to get that one consistently. So the second target is a little bit more challenging than the first. And that means I need to hit up here in order to get to the top of this one. So here's the top of the second one. Here is our little area where would be a nice third target. Well, this one, of course, was going up a little bit. I guess the next one could be going down a little bit. Well, that's directly on the same level, I think. I don't think there's a dip there. How about down there? That sounds like a pretty far dip, though. I'm not too sure I can make a shot down that far, but that's something to consider. Or is there something else that would do better? I'll have to ponder that. I decided that looks a little bit too hilly for my taste. So I've chosen that location there. It does actually do a little bit of a dip there. It's just hard to see that from here. Now the question is, can I hit that? Now this is not going to be the final location, since it's obviously going to have that delay in it, stuff like that. But right now I'm giving it a wider than usual. I hit the light instead of the target. Oh well. All right, there you go. The question is how well I can hit the target. Yeah, I'll have to be able to get a little bit better with that, especially when I remove the delay in that. So it's a bit of a distance there, so that will make it a little tougher once I get that properly set up. But that, I think, will then make a good third. And I'm going to have to build the full structure around it. This is just to get a sense of feel of what I want to. Oh my goodness gracious. Do I dare do something down to there? It'll be a shorter shot, but it'll be a bit on the vertical. That's quite a drop. Now let's see if we could actually hit the thing. Well, obviously I can. Now right now I'm aiming for just off the top of the lamp. I won't have that option, of course, when we get to the actual one, since the lamp will be one higher, and there, of course, there'll be a less room for error because of that delay. But I think that sets it out over there. So that could be number 4. Now I will need a good way of getting to number 4 to pick up the arrows afterwards, since this is a little tricky over here. There. Oh. And I have to choose a new location. Well, that'll make it tricky. How about if I just do one quick run for the first 4 with the easy mode on the last 2 of them and see how it works. Now, how am I doing on arrows right now? 38. Right. So let's see how many it takes me in order to get all the way across. So right now I have 38. And one of the ideas is to do this all in as few shots as possible. There we go. First one. Yeah, getting that one in one is, once you've had a little bit of practice, probably wouldn't be too difficult. This one. Oh, there. Nope, a little bit off. Oh, this is going. Good grief. Ah, there we go. And that's 2 shots. Actually, that was 2 targets. That was 5 shots, because as you can see, I now have 33 left. I started out with 38. You go a little bit higher there. Right, good. Now I'm down to 31. And there we go. And then finally, we do the one that goes down. I think this one, because it's a little bit shorter, I think I've got a pretty good idea where I need to do in order to hit this one. Yep, that one I got first shot. So 31, that means it took me 7 shots to do the whole thing. So par seems to be about 2. And apparently when I'm taking this into account, I do have to remember that if I get close to these things, I'm collecting arrows. So it doesn't necessarily give me an accurate count. I wonder if I could do a water hazard there. Sort of make a little boat type target instead of the type I'm making down over here. Let's think on that. And with that, I think I'll end today's episode. 4 of these targets. So I started the game. I've got the basic concept down now. And maybe I could ponder on some ways to make the targets look a little bit better than they are now. Though I think they have come a long way from the original vision that I had here. So what will I do? Let's find that out in the next episode of Pineleaf Plays Minecraft Pinetopia.